So Apple has released another iteration of their wonderful Mac M1 chip with the M1 Ultra. And on top of that, they introduced a brand new Mac, which, well, I think is pretty awesome. What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. If it is your first time here, I talk about filmmaking, beginner tips and tricks, to talk to you about gear, about techniques. And if you think that's something awesome, well, the subscribe button is right down below, and make sure to like this video if you enjoy the contents from it. For the past actually year, I have been using Apple's M1 Mac Mini, and it has been fantastic. It's fulfilled all of my needs as a colorist as well as an editor. You know, there's been moments here and there where it's had a little bit of trouble running things, especially like when you throw noise reduction on, when you throw grain. So for a while now, I've had a friend of mine that's been trying to get me to switch to PC. And honestly, it's been really hard to, because of the fact that I'm so invested in the Mac ecosystem. I have the watch, I have the phone, I have the iPad. I've been on Mac for such a long time that it just makes it really hard for me to want to switch. But recently, with color has really become one of my main focuses in filmmaking, because one of my current part-time jobs is as a colorist. So kind of my main source of income is being a colorist. Investing in a $4,000 PC seemed logical, but I just kept hearing that tiny voice in the back of my head being like, you love the Apple ecosystem, why do you want to leave it? The performance from the M1 Max and the M1 Pro, I wasn't very impressed with after using. It still struggles when you throw noise reduction on. It still struggles to render. And that is just a really annoying thing when in a post-production workflow. This morning when I got a text from my dad about saying that Apple had released another chip, the M1 Ultra, I was in hopes that, hey, maybe this could be the answer. Maybe this could let me stay in the Mac ecosystem, but get the performance of a high-end PC. I'm very skeptical that that's possible, and I should probably just switch, but let me just try and live this dream for a minute, okay? So I really want to focus just on reacting to the Mac Studio. I've only looked at like specs here and there. I did watch the keynote that they put up, and there were a lot of things I really liked about it. And the biggest thing that I really liked, really just the ports that they've added to the Mac Studio. With the Mac Mini, you were super limited, just having two Thunderbolt 4 ports and two USB ports and an HDMI port. And that was it. Like, you had Ethernet as well, and you had an audio jack. But like, that was it. And it was really frustrating to only have that. I ended up buying extensions, and I ended up being frustrated by the fact that I can only have two screens, and it just slowly became super annoying. So when I saw that there were more ports, now we have 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports and then 2 Thunderbolt ports on the front, I was ecstatic. And on top of that, you can also support up to 5 displays. And I was like, yes. You can choose 2 configurations. You have the M1 Max or the M1 Ultra. I'm gonna focus on the M1 Ultra because we already know what the M1 Max can actually provide. Oh, there's also a new display, by the way. I'm curious about that too. So SD card slot on the front side, well, guess what? It's only UHS 1. So you're not gonna be able to put any V90 cards, V60 cards in there. You're only gonna be able to do V30, which is extremely annoying. But the 2 USB-C slots on the front, that is awesome. So as you can tell, we've got the 4 Thunderbolt 4 slots, and then we have the USB slots on the back. So the M1 Ultra, we have a 20-core CPU now, up to 64 GPUs. They always talk about like the specs, like, oh, it's 8 times faster than the most popular GPU. It's 10 times faster than the most popular CPU or whatever. But as we kind of could tell from last year, is that like, that's a lot of puffery. Like, they're just trying to say things to sell the item. And in reality, like, if you compare them side by side, like, they weren't much different, and a lot of times the GPU, like the 3090 or something like that, still came out on top. It'll be really interesting to see Linus Tech Tips and other channels really compare these, and I'm actually probably going to order one of the M1 Ultras. I would actually love to like put it through its paces in DaVinci Resolve, especially in the color page, really throw some noise reduction at it, really throw some heavy grain on top of that, just try to slow it down as much as I could. So if the M1 Ultra can actually do what their puffery is saying, by the way, if you don't know what puffery means, it basically means like making things sound better than they actually are. But yeah, if it can actually do what they're saying, we could have a competitor against the 3090. Okay, so the M1 Ultra, it's built from 2 M1 Max chips. That's kind of what they talked about, is like they built the M1 Max to be like able to be compatible with another M1 Max, so you can combine them, giving you 2 times the performance or double whatever. They are claiming that you can get 18 streams of 8K ProRes 422 video playback. So they're claiming 3.8 times faster CPU, 4.5 times GPU, and 3 times faster machine learning. The M1 Ultra does give you support for up to 5 displays, which again is a huge game changer for me because of the fact that the Mac Mini was holding me back, only giving me 2 displays. It has optimization for H.264, HEVC, ProRes encode and decode, which that's super cool. You can get up to 8 terabytes of storage inside of it, which I would never do that. Max I would do is like 2 terabytes and then just get a bunch of extra storage. With GPU performance, they are claiming that 8K render speed is at 5 times with the Ultra, 3.5 with the M1 Max, comparatively to the Mac Pro with the Radeon Pro W5700X, which the 5700X was actually a pretty sweet GPU, definitely not even close to like a 3090 or even a 2080 Ti. Also, if you're exporting in 8K, I don't know why. The one thing that I've always enjoyed about the Mac Minis is their size. They can slide under a display, they can go inside of a cabinet, they're just super, super compatible, and I hate having clutter all over my desk. That's another thing about PC that kind of annoys me, is that the fact that the tower is like the size of a spaceship, and the Mac Mini, you know, is like the size of the palm of my hand. I can put it under a display, I can sit it inside of like a drawer even. And the size of this one, you know, you're looking at 7 inches by like 3.5 inches tall, and that is just really, really appealing to me personally, because I like my desk to look slick, I like it to look clean, and I just, when people walk in, I want them to be like, wow, like this is nice, I like that. So on top of that, we also got a new display, and the XDR display was extremely overpriced and just unnecessary in general, and this new one is just, you know, it's a little bit cheaper. I'd be interested to try it, honestly. I might get one just to see what it looks like. I was gonna order one of these Mac Studios today, but after a little bit of consideration, a little bit of thought, I decided to take a step back and wait for someone else to buy it. I kind of want to see what other YouTubers say about it. I want to see what the performance is like. I want to see reactions, and I'm sure that those are going to come out within the next few weeks, or at least by the beginning of April. And by then I can make an informed decision about whether or not it's worth staying with the Mac ecosystem, or if it's time to switch to PC and take performance over, you know, reliability. But maybe I'm completely wrong. Honestly, I would love your opinions about this in the comment section. You know, are you team Mac? Are you team PC? Go ahead and comment those down below. And guys, if you enjoyed this like blind reaction of like a post-production filmmaker colorist of like Apple's new announcement, then maybe think about subscribing and hitting that bell button so you never miss out on new young filmmaker content. Good luck filmmaking.